Netflix, the ubiquitous marketing juggernaut. How did they get to the #1 spot of the most coveted part of the tech sector? With over 260 million active subscribers, they are an absolute marketing master machine. Let's talk about it. What do they do? How do they do it? Why are they so good at it? And how can we, me and you, take what they've done and learn from it and apply it in our businesses or our marketing departments? But first, I'm just going to tell you the secret right out the gate. It's probably going to be a little bit underwhelming, and maybe even arguably cliche, but cliches are cliches for a reason. The secret is, the overarching secret that is, that they go above and beyond to understand their customers and give them what they want. They give them what they want subconsciously even, so that they will ultimately do what Netflix wants them to do, which is spend more time with Netflix. And they even do one thing that's incredibly unique to me and you every time you get on Netflix. They do something incredibly smart. But we'll talk about that later. We can walk through it and test it out. And you can even try it at home and see what you get on your end. It's pretty interesting. And most people don't ever even know that this is happening to them. But we'll get to that one later on. I'm super excited to get into all these things with you. Before we do that, I'd like to at least quickly tell you who I am and why I'm on this channel, because this is only my second video, and you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? Well, there's nothing I can tell you right now that's going to answer that second question. You can only judge that for yourself after watching this video, and maybe my other ones. But my name is Colin. I am a full-time Chief Marketing Officer, and on this channel I'm going to try and share some of my daily functions and activities and some of my thoughts about things as I'm going throughout my weeks and months trying to activate some types of strategies and try and reaching goals and tactics and all that stuff. I'm going to be providing things that actually happen to me and things that I actually think about and apply in my career. I started out, I was a graphic designer and a brand specialist. I worked my way up through the ranks and became director of marketing, and then eventually the chief marketing officer. So I'll be sharing that with you as well. How to progress in your marketing career, how to get to the top, how to be the best in the office, how to be a better leader, how to be a better marketer, and how to be a better team player. And how can you serve your customers better and your leadership better? And most importantly, how can you serve your team better so that you guys can create some cool stuff, even if that team is just you? Okay, so now that we got the introduction out of the way, let's get into it. So after breaking down everything that Netflix does, I pulled 6 things that I think they are doing incredibly well, and it shows. Obviously they're massive, and I think that these are pretty solid pillars to their marketing strategy. I'd love to know all the different ins and outs and tactical things that they do, but as best as I can tell, these are the things that they do really well, and they're killing it. So first thing that I want to talk about is understanding their audience's preferences. They do that through, oh, big surprise, a data-driven approach. They're a tech company. That's what they do. Yes, they're a streaming company, but they are a data tech company. That's the foundation of a lot of what they do. Their data-driven approach sort of helps tailor all of their marketing efforts, and they do that through all sorts of different algorithms. I can't imagine how many that I don't know about or that are unseen, but the obvious one is their recommendation algorithm, sometimes called the Netflix algorithm. This algorithm is a complex algorithm built with similarity algorithms and a few other different types of data matrices that kind of form this recommendation algorithm. This is how they get a new user to kind of be consumed by the content that they offer and stay on platform. And I don't know if you're like me, who kind of looks at things like this. I always kind of wondered how do they know what I want to watch as a new user on the platform? And that's a great question. That similarity algorithm inside of the recommendation algorithm is the main component of starting a new user down the rabbit hole of Netflix, of all their content. The similarity algorithm, this is in a lot of different content-based tech companies' platforms. It basically says, okay, user A, who's a long-time user, likes these types of shows. And then we've got this new user here who got on the platform and they watched this documentary. Well, that's funny because user A over here, who's a longtime user, watched that documentary also and they loved it. So there's a good chance that user A and user B might have some similar interests. So let's start showing user B all the things that user A watches. And then we'll start building a profile off of that. Things that they didn't like or did like or ignored or whatever. And then that's how that recommendation algorithm starts shaping user B's experience. Okay, so how can we apply that into our businesses, into our marketing strategies? Well, I know a lot of people right out the gate probably immediately disregarded this topic because they are a tech company, or maybe they're a brick and mortar, or maybe they're a e-com store that only sells tangible items, and they're like, oh well, data doesn't really work for me and we don't know, blah blah blah. There's all sorts of excuses to try and make it so that you're not going to look at this deeper. Think about it though, there are plenty of ways you might have to get creative to apply a data-driven approach, and even more so this Netflix algorithm to your business. All right, so let's say you're a brick and mortar business and you sell, I don't know, clothing. Let's just say you're a clothing store. By the way, every store, brick and mortar business, should have like a POS system, a point of sale system. And there's dozens and if not hundreds of them out there where you can start collecting data on your customers. And you can start pooling the type of products that certain types of customers buy. And you could start arranging your store so that these types of products are in the same general area, or you can start building out a story, a natural progression along a certain wall. Like, oh, these type of people buy this type of shorts, and they also, come in and they buy these type of sweaters or hoodies or whatever. And so you would put those into progression on the wall. That's just a random off-the-cuff example that just came out of nowhere. Probably not the greatest example, but my point is if you were to take a little bit longer than I just did, which is 0 time, you probably surprise yourself and come up with something pretty interesting. E-com stores, even better, especially the direct-to-consumer ones, because you can look at what customers are buying and offer packages based off of a customer who's come back more than once and bought different things. Maybe you could look and see if that's kind of a common repurchasing cycle. Maybe you could build a package out of that. That might be interesting. Maybe you could get that customer, maybe you could bump that customer's average cart value and then sort of put them on another journey where they're going to come back and buy another package. I don't know. This is just spitballing. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's number 1. Understanding audiences' preferences. Number 2 is customized experiences, or better yet, personalized experiences. And this is an incredibly interesting one that Netflix absolutely kicks butt at. All right, they probably put, at least from what I could tell, they put an incredible amount of effort into this, because they realize that in today's absolutely overcrowded marketplace, the only way to stand out is to make the customer feel like they're having an experience designed for them, personalized for them. And one of the cool ways that Netflix does this is they personalize the cover art based off of your type of reaction to shows and movies and stuff like that. And I just think that's incredible. What a crazy amount of time that would take and effort. Let me show you what I mean. Let's hop on over to my laptop and we'll go over it and I'll show you some examples. Okay, here we are inside of Netflix. Pretty standard. This probably looks pretty normal to everyone. But let's take a look here. Let's look at one of these shows or movies. Dahmer. Here, let's look at Dahmer. This was a very popular show. I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. But let's take note of what we're seeing here. We've got a very dramatic scene, close up, high contrast, bold text with matching color grading, and it's just a very dramatic piece of art for the cover of this show. All right, now just take note of this, and let's go to just another profile inside of my account. Let's look up Dahmer in this account or this profile. Here it is. Totally different cover art. We've got same bold text, but different composition for the thumbnail or the cover art. And that is because it's designed specifically for the user and how they engage with different shows. So the reason they're doing this is because we engage with different things as different people. So on in my profile, maybe the way I engage with Netflix and what makes me more likely to click on a show is a dramatic feel, something that's kind of in your face and mysterious. Whereas this other account, maybe they need more of a complete composition, something that also has an element of not knowing what's going on, but also intrigue, because this is a very unique image. It's weird, frankly. Maybe, Sally, who likes daytime drama type shows, is going to get cover art that's more along the lines of that vibe, the glowy drama scene. So what I'm getting at is they basically pick cover art that they think you're going to click on based off of your previous engagements with the platform. So if you're more into action movies and stuff like that, they're probably going to gear the cover art around that. So maybe this Dahmer thumbnail would be some kind of fight scene inside the show or something like that. Or if maybe you're into thrillers, it's going to be, something that makes you feel like something dangerous is happening. Or maybe you're into mysteries, and that's something more like what this is. And maybe with mine, there's like a dramatic feel and a heavily protagonistic feel. Whatever the case may be, Netflix is constantly taking in data so that they can gear some of these cover art pieces in such a way that you're more likely to click on it. So as you can see, Netflix puts a ton of effort into this. You're not going to see it on every show or movie, but it's a lot, which means that they had to go through, create a bunch of different cover arts for different types of people to up the chances of them clicking on that video, and then also relating the cover art to the actual show, because that's important. If someone clicks on something based off of the cover art and they don't get that out of it, if they don't feel like it was fulfilled in the actual content itself, they're going to feel lied to, and it won't work. They won't trust the platform as much. And that's a big thing. It's incredibly important. And that goes for any type of content creation. For all you people out there creating content, think about that when you're, for example, making YouTube videos. Your cover, your thumbnail and your title should never be disconnected from the actual content. And in fact, the first few seconds, your hook of your video should basically validate why they clicked on that video. So you got a thumbnail of a cat falling off a table. If they click on that video and you start talking about cat food or talking about how your dog and cat have the best relationship, they're going to click away immediately and never trust your channel again. But if they click on that video and immediately see the cat falling off the table and landing on all fours and running off, they're going to feel satisfied. They're going to get what they came for, and they'll start trusting you. So keep that in mind. This is for the benefit of the customer or the viewer, but it's also a benefit for you because you're building that trust with your customers. And that is the most valuable thing you can have in this crowded marketplace. If your customers trust you, they're going to come to you for everything that they possibly can. Because it's difficult out there to find someone you trust. And if you can become the person that they trust, you won't have to sell to them. Your brand will be the one that they rely on. And they won't have to feel worried about purchasing from you. That gets a little bit deeper into branding, but that's totally other topic that we could go off on in hundreds of videos, which we will. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in and any specifics about it. Anyways, that's the first part of number 2. The second part of number 2 is these personalized experiences aren't just the cover art. They are also the recommendations that they provide in terms of like when you like your For You page, as to use a buzzword. They really, like we talked about in there in the audience preferences portion, the first part of this, they really take a lot of time and effort to make sure that they're providing you with recommendations that keep you happy and keep you on the platform. Again, the ultimate goal. So they're always going to try and find creative ways to assimilate different genres, actors, movie styles, directors. They even look at the time of day you're watching with them. And if you cut off early or if you give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, all these things come together to create these algorithms where they can sort of build out a more complete picture of what it is you like. And again, this is just bringing it back to a more personalized experience. And Netflix does this incredibly well. You should be putting as much effort as you possibly can and resources into this very thing as well. And again, this is another one of those things where people are like, oh, I don't, my store, there's not really a way to do that with my store. Stop lying to yourself. Stop trying to convince yourself that it can't be done so that you actually don't have to do the work, because it is hard work. But that's really what you're just scared of. It can be applied to any business. Even people out there who are still sending emails that don't have a personalized name, the name insert inside of the message. That's silly. You shouldn't be skipping that. It's so easy nowadays too, especially with all the great email providers out there. Sorry, I kicked my light. Find creative ways to personalize your customer's experience. This is a little bit harder in a brick and mortar, I will give you that. But you can also get a general sense of your customers that come in and kind of personalize the vibe and the walkthrough, the flow, the merchandising of it so that it's more geared towards them. The music, the scents, the whatever's going on in the store. But as far as like e-com stores, stuff like that, this is so much easier to do. There's even people out there who are doing personalized shoppers where someone lands in their site, they'll pop up in the chat box and say, hey, I'm here to help you figure out what works best for you. What are you looking for? And ask them questions to sort of help build out better experience for them. They build out a better product for them. Because sometimes, we have a lot of products, a lot of SKUs, and it can be overwhelming for customers. So they ask them a few questions, say, hey, this is for you. And there's also apps out there that do that. These are a little bit more complicated, but anyways, this is rambling. You need to find creative ways to do this, to personalize the experience for your customers, even if it's just through email. Your email segmentations. You create a segment just for these customers who buy this product. Send them an email flow that's related to that product. They'll feel special. And if you're providing some cool information about that product or products that go well with it, you're just building that trust even more. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 is a seamless user experience. Now this is incredibly important as well. All of these are. You should take these all into account when thinking about your customer's experience in general and your marketing in general. Tactics and strategy, which are different, by the way. If you're wondering why and how they're different, check out my last video. I'll link it above me in a card or something, or down in the description. So the seamless user experience was kind of created with Amazon. Amazon took the user experience and went above and beyond to make it easy, to make it intuitive, and to make the customer do the least amount of work to get a product. You know how it is. They've got, you can find a product on Amazon. You could accidentally buy stuff on Amazon. It's so easy. It's crazy. But they've put a lot of effort and resources into making that happen because it works. A customer could be on the fringes of purchasing and not really know what to do, and the second there's some type of bottleneck or a speed bump that they gotta climb over, that might be where they fall off and you lose that conversion. And they might come back or they might not. They might think, oh, I'll come back and check this out when I figure it out or whatever, and then while they're gone they see an ad for some other product that's similar, or somebody tells them about this other thing, and then they're gone for life. You don't get them back because there's a good chance that other brand that was easier to purchase from is going to keep them locked in because they're putting in the work. So Netflix obviously makes it incredibly easy to pick your shows. They provide you with these recommendations, and these recommendations are almost always decent to amazing recommendations based off of your similarity algorithm, your Netflix algorithm, the things that you watch previous, and again with all the different data points that they pull together for that. They also make it incredibly easy to continue watching. So like if you are watching a show, you finish a couple episodes, go to bed, wake up the next day, go to work, come back to your couch or your bed or with your spouse or whatever and pull up Netflix to get back into your show, what's the first or second thing you see? It's continue watching. Even if you stopped in the middle of the episode, it knows right where you are. And these things seem so simple and obvious, but they're all part of this ecosystem that's designed to make it easier for you so that you'll stay there longer and come back more often and get into your viewing quicker, because that's what it's all about. They want you to be viewing and to be enjoying, entertained, learning, and having good experiences faster, because that is good for them. The happier you are, the more you enjoy their platform, obviously you're going to continue to use it and tell your friends about it, which is another thing they do well later we'll talk about. So how can we take what they do for their user experience and apply it to our business? This one should be obvious, especially if you are a online store or just basically do most of your business through your website. Optimize your website, not just SEO, but your speed. It's easy to check your speed score, or if you have a dev team, get them on that. It's incredibly important that there's no opportunity for your customer to be waiting. There's so many different things you could be doing. We're talking optimizing images, optimizing load times, optimizing videos, especially videos, arranging things in a way that it loads better and more intuitively. Like the speed is an important thing to do, but also the way things are laid out. Our mind works in certain ways, and you shouldn't be, building things opposite of hierarchy. So if you want someone to see this text first, don't put some big dumb text above it that's like some buzzword or some crap. No, the important stuff should be the important stuff visually as well. Okay, and this is a design 101, but also how we read things, top to bottom, left to right. So think about that when you're designing the flow of things and how you want your customers or potential customers to intake the data, intake the content. How do you want them in what way do you want them to understand this stuff? Think about that when you're formulating the way things are laid out. Also, unnecessary stuff that slows down your website or slows down your customers' understanding of what the product is or what it does for them, or all that stuff. Just making the experience easier, more intuitive, and in our day and age, faster. Because we've got seconds to capture our customers' attention. We don't have time for loading or confusing text or images that don't really convey a message that aligns with the product they thought they were looking at. Or even your checkout process, like how complicated is that? Luckily, in today's world, it hasn't always been that way. Trust me, I've been through dozens of site builds where this wasn't as easy as it is now. But the checkout process needs to be easy. Think about how Amazon does that one-click checkout. Now not everybody could do that because they have, their whole customer profile inside of the platform and in the app. But you can still make it a lot easier. Shopify, if they're a returning Shopify customer of any sorts, and they've, okayed Shopify to keep their info, that's great. It automatically fills out their shipping and everything. Stuff like that. You should be looking for ways to take advantage of platforms and what they offer to make that easier for your customers. So that's number 3. Number 4, content is king. We've all heard this before. It's another cliche, I know. But again, cliches are cliches for a reason. High quality content is one of the most important things that you could be thinking about in today's marketing. It's so important. And high quality doesn't always mean you got the nicest camera and you pay to have the best videographer and editing, or you spend all this time videoing and editing. High quality could just mean you really understand your customers and what they want to see and how they want to see it. You can get out there with your phone. We have awesome cameras on our phones and create something unique and something that resonates with your customers and potential customers. Now, obviously, Netflix is a content company. They put $17 billion into content alone. And 55% of that, which I think it's like $7 or $9 billion goes into just original content alone. That's crazy, especially when you think back to how I said they're the number one streaming platform. Disney spends $26 million on content, and they're not number one. And it's because of all the stuff we're talking about with Netflix. They've kind of set the gold standard, and so people are following suit. But Netflix is kicking butt, and their content is obviously incredibly important to them. That's what it's all about. It's how they get the people to be happy, to want to be there, to want to tell their friends. So think about that when you're putting off doing social media content, for example. It's not as dumb as some of you might think. And those of you who do it and put a lot of effort into it, good on you, but you're probably not doing it enough. It's so important. It's key. People need to build relationships with your company. And that's how we do it now, is through video and image content. This is how people relate to your brand and come to trust them. And also, it's a great opportunity to build out your products in your customer's mind. So yes, content is king. It should be a vital part of your marketing strategy. Okay, number 5, community building. Word of mouth is the holy grail of marketing. There's no other marketing tactic or strategy that's as effective as someone that your customer trusts, loves, appreciates, telling them, this is good, you should try this. And this is all a part of the good content and the good experience on their platform. It helps customers to feel obligated to tell their friends, because we all want to be like, hey, I found this new show, it's the best show, you gotta watch it. Because people want to be the one to tell their friends that they found something. They want to be the one that found it and gets to share that with their friends and then be like the hero that showed them this great show that they love. Netflix knows that. That's why they put so much money into content and build out shows that make you binge, because you're more likely to share it with your friends. And that's almost instantly you're jumping a lot of tiers in the customer's brand loyalty when another customer tells their friends. I hope that makes sense. I got a little scatterbrained. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, or just tell me, hey, tidy up your words, mister. Okay, so that was community building. Easy. They do all sorts of stuff all around a lot of their content just to make sure that people are sharing and building communities. They build online communities around shows. They build forums and all sorts of stuff, Facebook groups, just around movies. Or of course, usually it's their original content, but they're building these groups that discuss these shows. Especially, like, I think that's why they do these shows. Like, I can't remember what that show's called, but it's about the cat. Sorry. Especially these shows that are like thriller documentaries where the internet gets involved and wants to solve the mystery. Things like that. They do that on purpose. They know it's going to build hype and chatter and drive traffic to the platform. They're smart. Don't think that this happens on accident. Some things do, but usually not very many things. And that's how it should be with your brand. Things that you put out there should be designed in such a way that you know what's going to happen. You should have an idea of what's going to happen when you put something out, or launch some kind of product, or launch some kind of overarching strategy or tactic. So think about that when you're designing things, systems, and again, strategies and tactics. Think about the outcomes of these things and what ways they could play out, and look for what faults or bad scenarios and try and reshape things and work backwards. So that's number 5. And lastly, number 6, and definitely not least, is something you've probably heard before. It's arguably sort of a buzzword, maybe. I don't know. I've heard it a billion times. Agility. You have to take an agile marketing approach. And I think Netflix does this really well. They take in data on the daily, possibly the hourly, and they're making adjustments to their interface based off of that data all the time. They're not pulling in data or waiting for some benchmark. They are looking at things, iterating. Works, doesn't work, move on. Keep it, don't keep it, whatever they got to do. They're iterating and applying and taking action. And you should be doing that too. And again, you can go check out my other video about the difference between marketing strategy and tactics. You should have an overarching strategy that you're working towards, your goals. Your tactics, however, you may design them in the beginning, but you should be willing to change those. Even if they were a lot of work, sometimes you got to just, let it go and move on and iterate or make it better from there. Learn from it. And I think Netflix does this really well. And the applications to your business are endless in this department. I'm sure there's dozens of things in your business that you know you need to change, or at least hone or work on. And you're putting it off because, it was so much work to put it in place, and it was so, and I just really thought it would work, and maybe it will if we wait a little bit longer. Stop it. Look at what needs to be fixed. Trust your gut. Just do it. Move on. The market isn't going to wait for you. So that's it for our video. That's all 6 things. I hope that you got something out of this video and that you had fun. I know I did. There was a lot of interesting things that we talked about. If you like what I said or don't like what I said, let me know down in the comments. And especially if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a subscribe. Maybe a thumbs up, like. That's great. I'd love to see it and hear what you guys have to think about, what you guys think about the video. I hope you have a great night. It's night for me right now. Great whenever time of day it is for you. Until next time, have a good one.